everyone, I'm not sure if you can hear me that well. Hello. But I thought I'd just talk through what I'm going to do a bit more than I normally do. I've placed myself under a lovely tree at Newton Park, down by the river, which you'll be able to see if I edit and share the other view of the other camera here. And it's quite a different environment for the soil because all the leaves have settled here. So I've brushed those away, and I'm just carefully lifting out some of the earth. I'm aware there's what I think are probably crocuses or maybe lilies, because there's some lilies here next to me. So I'm trying to avoid harming any of those roots. I don't need a very big hole, which is always very useful because it's just for the base of the vessel that I'm going to make. But it's nice to be in softer soil compared to where I've been making before, so that makes my life easier. And nice to have this dark, rich black soil to be around. Different smells, different textures. And I was just looking up there to see, because there's people might come by. I think Anna may pop by and take some photographs at some point, which would be nice. So sorry little root, let's put you at the side and you can be part of the pot. But yeah, so this is really as deep as I probably need to go, but I need to make sure that the sides are not a kind of sloping down to a narrowest point at the bottom, so that I can pull the vessel out easily. So I think that's about as wide as I need to go. I would like to leave the vessels, but I also want to bring them back so people can use them as meditation vessels. So I need to lie down some straps, thin straps of a natural fabric muslin, just to add, kind of act as support so that I can pull the vessel up. I think that's probably deep enough. Because my very first vessel I made, I left overnight thinking, oh, that would be nice. That would be nice for the clay, the commercial clay, to meet the earth and connect with it. But then it reclaimed itself because of the moisture and the fact it was still winter, which it is now. We're in February. So that didn't really work, and I learnt from that. Actually, looking at it at this angle, I'm just gonna see if I can get a bit more out this side, maybe, or maybe that's okay. I don't want the vessel to be too big because I also have to think about the fact I've got to carry it back with my hair and tools and everything. So this is quite a planned expedition. I think it's just for me about connecting with this earth. So I'm really wanting to come back to Mother Nature, come back to Mother Earth, come back to all the elements. We forget that we're earth dust really as humans, we're part of all of this. And I'm really interested in this idea of entanglement, elements, atoms, photons, all these things are all connected inside us, around us, between us, in spaces, in matter. And I'm really interested in this idea of vibrant matter as well, and the alliance or the agency that materials have. So I'm going to be bringing back today some commercial clay and also some wild clay that I found in Lyme Regis. Just going to bring the camera up a little bit. So it's all too easy for us at the moment, particularly as, I'll just bend down a bit so you can see me, as potters, to think we shouldn't be making with commercial clay anymore, or we should get very purist about it. But I think everything in life is matter, and we need to bring commercial things and honour them as well. It's not just about discarding the plastic or discarding the rubbish, it's about honouring it as well. And Anna's just turned up. Hello. I'm just chatting away. So yeah, I've been particularly interested in Jane Bennett's view of materiality and vibrancy, and although she's not into the spiritual side of it, it's allowed me to think about, you know, everything has energy, as I know from my background, but that actually, even without thinking about the soul of a material or the soul of an object, it's even just the raw materials, the compounds, the atoms, the elements, are seeking to make an alliance with each other somehow, and everything has a relationship. Even here, as I've dug the hole, there's a relationship between the roots that are exposed, the little seeds, the leaves that fall in, everything, and my hand, and holding intention. So yeah, it's about just having this moment to connect and send some healing as well to Mother Earth, and appreciation. How often do we really dig down beneath the surface of ourselves as well as the earth? If we're gardeners, yes, we would do more often, but we just walk on top of her and we take for granted what's going on beneath and the connections that we have. You know, where's this earth come from originally? The core of the earth, the rocks, the bedrock, the plants around, all of the organic matter. Where's it all come from? It's all part of all of us. So I'm going to start by rolling out. This is some commercial clay from Bath Potters, which I use because actually it's one of the less manufactured clays. They dig it out of the earth and they don't really change it that much, and I like that. It's got some grog in it. It can be fired to stoneware. It's a wide firing range of clay, which is helpful because it means that I can use this clay with an earth vessel that might be taken up to stoneware, and I'm looking at once firing with these vessels to save on energy consumption. But it could also work for earthenware, and today I'm going to be using earthenware more. I've tested my wild clay from Lyme Regis, the Jurassic Coast, and that does fire to 1080. So I'm going to use some of that today. I'm just going to intuitively draw a circle for the base, and then lift this up, and then press this in, introducing this commercial clay back to the earth, pressing it in. I always find it interesting because as I press the clay in, the earth kind of acts like a resistor in a way, initially. I don't know whether that's because it feels, you know, what's this commercial body, but the moisture with my hand as I press means that the clay kind of comes away slightly because the earth is a different texture. But that's okay, that's all fine. And what I tend to do is leave any bits that fall in, unless they're really big pieces, because that's part of the process. I'm just using a kidney to press into the base, just to compress it a little bit. And then we're going to start building up the walls. So just ripping some of the clay, squeezing it in my hand. Enjoying the sound of the ducks and the wind and the lake and everything around me. I'm going to talk through the process, but there's going to be moments of quiet where I'm really just focusing on all my senses, smell, smelling the earth, sight, seeing what's in here. There's a little bit of what looks like terracotta in here. Where's that from? Feeling the clay as I roll it, and then adding the clay and thinking about the intention for this earth vessel. Today it feels like gratitude to me. I mean, this is such a beautiful place to study in Newton Park. I feel very grateful to be able to be here. I'm grateful to benefit from these elements and to do this. To work with one of my favourite materials, clay, but to be under the canopy of this beautiful tree. I'm going to do this, I'm going to get up to about 3 layers, and then I will start to blend the coils with my weaving tool. But I always have. When I grew up in Almondsbury, near Bristol, but on the outskirts in the countryside, my father had a wonderful garden, and at the bottom of the field, at the bottom of the garden, there was a stream, and I used to sit by the stream and play with sticks in the water. Pooh sticks, for those of you who know. After Winnie the Pooh, the book. And never feel alone, even though technically I was by myself, but I didn't ever feel alone. I had nature with me, and a little spider has decided to join, so I'm just going to help him out, because I don't want you to get fired in the kiln, Mr. Spider. So I'm pressing quite firmly actually into the soil. I just realised that I haven't put in my pieces of cloth, so that is going to be a potential issue. So I'm going to need to go and find those. When I'm doing this motion from having built up several coils in the wall to a certain height, so I'm now just above ground level, I'm then going right down to the bottom, and with my hands I'm bringing up the energy of the clay and Mother Earth. It's an intention being to bring up this golden energy that Mother Earth offers us to help us connect and heal and grow and evolve. And it's really nice because obviously I'm working in a circle. It's a really nice, satisfying motion. And what's nice as well is I end up picking up some of the soil and the debris with my fingers and dragging it into the inner walls of the clay. And some of the pieces I push in, and some of the larger pieces take out. And you can see there's a spiral beginning to form from the motion and the movement of my fingers and the mark making. I'm now going to do a layer of wild clay. So that was my commercial clay from Bath Potters, and then this, which I find very exciting, is my wild clay that I forage from Lyme Regis, the Jurassic coast. So darker in colour, it actually fires terracotta, so more the colour of the leaves. But really excited to use this. I'm not sure how much I'm going to use, but I've got a fairly good lump here. There are bits in this. I mean, it's great clay. I'm so pleased with it. Such a lovely offering from the coast, from nature, because I really had to do very little with it. I managed to find an area in a part of the cliffs that had subsided, and it was pretty smooth with not many stones in it, so I scooped that out, which was really amazing to feel. I loved it, just connecting with those elements. And then I wedged it, and you can see a little film of me doing that on my YouTube channel. And left in a few little pieces because I like the fact you can get little stones and pebbles and things, but obviously that does change the integrity of the piece. So what I've noticed is if I then use water to bring up the sides and make it thinner, inevitably it does then break if there's a little stone or some shale in there. It creates a weak spot in the wall of whatever you're making. So that's something to be aware of. And as long as the vessel doesn't crack too much, I quite like the fissures, because that's really what you get in nature. It's what you get in the cliff face, in geology, where you see different layers of bedrock and stone meeting each other. To me, that's more realistic of what nature is. So I'm going to blend now this wild clay down to meet the commercial clay, allowing it to say hi to its brother or sister in many ways. Yes, and the duck agrees then. Don't know if you could hear that. So this could be potentially a weak spot for the firing, but we'll see. If I don't get it too thin, it should be okay. I like seeing the two clays blending with my strokes. Obviously, you're not going to see that as much on the outside because I can't get to the outside at the moment. So I'm just going to intentionally try and bring up the sides. And just squeeze. I don't want the pot to be, the earth vessels do tend to be heavier than I would normally make a vessel. I don't know what will happen, we'll just go with what feels right. I'm now working in the opposite direction of the spiral. I don't know if you can see that. It just feels right to do so. So I just go with it. I just go with what feels right for my hands in the making process. That might change in a minute when I come to blend more. In some ways, having a cross-hatching of movement is going to make the wall stronger. I'm going to start supporting the outer wall with my hand as I do this, because otherwise there's a tendency for it to just push out. And I'm just going to pinch and squeeze inwards. Actually, I'm just feeling inwards would be good. Inwards is the way to go here. I don't know why, but I suppose you could say listening to the clay, listening to the form. It could also be that I'm feeling like I need to go inwards today. Who knows? And now that I've got access to the sides, I can actually smooth the side walls a little bit, which will make it stronger for when I come to pull it out. It doesn't matter if I end up picking up some of the soil. I quite like that. I think that's nice. I'm going to be picking up this vessel. I think I'm also at the stage where I'd like to dry it off a little bit. Just easing the bowl a little bit. I always really like the colours that it creates on the inside when you burn. So I'm going to do one more layer of wild clay. And I'm now using this kind of thumb and forefinger squeeze technique. So now it's time for some red earthenware clay from Bath Potters that I was given because it was going to be thrown away, and it's a little bit hard for children to work with, so it was given to me by a school, and it's just really nice to use that as well. And yeah, bring it to the wild clay and the other clay, and it'll be interesting to see how it reacts with the wild clay as a final layer. So this clay is already brown. It's a gorgeous colour. It's got sand in it as well, and it's a little bit firmer. But I was deciding which clays to bring last night in my pottery, and just felt drawn to bring this one, and it feels quite apt that it's next to the colour of these leaves as well. So that feels kind of synchronistic in a way, or appropriate. So yeah, it's quite a bit firmer, but it's still usable. And I also don't mind that my hands are covered in the wild clay, so I'm blending some of that in as I make the coil. I always like those incidental things that happen. I was just checking there that the difference in dryness or firmness wasn't too great. I'm just going to, on the safe side, because I'm introducing a new clay on top of this wild clay, I'm just going to slip and store a little bit, just to be on the safe side. And I think I'm going to slip and score the coil I'm adding as well. I wouldn't normally do this, but because the two clays are slightly different in firmness, and the fact that they're two different clays, and the fact I don't really know how the wild clay is going to respond in the kiln. Although I've done a test, I haven't done it with other clays yet, and not on this scale, so no harm in doing this. It hopefully will just mean there's a better bond between the two layers. Just going to slide these two surfaces together a bit, just so they talk to each other, so they start to stick. Use a bit of pressure just to make sure there's no air trapped. Get the next bit ready. Already I can see, you know, this vessel has got a totally different personality to the one I made in the Mendits, just near my home. The shape and obviously the colour clay, but it's not just that, it's a feeling as well. And I suppose that feeling is a combination of the place where I am, the energies today, here in the world, how I'm feeling, the weather last night and how the earth is feeling. It's lots of things all coming together to create something unique. An alliance of matter, energies, emotions, intentions. This vessel I started making with the intention of gratitude. while I've been quiet during this video, I've been thinking about all the things I'm grateful in my life. And this is an approach that's used in quantum touch because humans are basically energy broadcasters with our minds. And if we think about something, we take on the energy of that memory, and it actually raises our own frequency, our energy frequency. And we can expand our aura, raise our energy and feel better just purely by making that conscious decision to change our thoughts. And that's what makes us different and apart from most of the other animals in the animal kingdom, all of them. And that's how you change your energy frequency with quantum touch if you're going to be wanting to direct that higher frequency of energy that you've then invited to somebody else, to heal them, or to the planet, or to Mother Earth, or to a situation. And it's actually called entrainment because it's scientifically proven now that we as humans entrain to things. We entrain to other people. And you know that if you walk in a room or you see some friends and a friend is really upbeat and happy, it will lift you. Equally, if a friend is having a hard time and they're down, it can also lower your energy. So we all respond to each other, we entrain to each other's energy. Animals do this in nature. Starlings murmurate together, they entrain to each other's energies. Fireflies light up together, etc. So this is entrainment. And it's the basic principle of quantum touch healing. Little plant, I think you're going to want to stay there, aren't you? So, while I've been making this earth vessel at Newton Park, I've been thinking about what I'm grateful for in my life. I mean, gratitude as an energy frequency is a different frequency of energy to joy. It literally has a different tone to it, or if you think of it in terms of music, because music is energy, it's a different note, it's a different key, a different harmony. Layer done. I'm just going to encourage a slightly thinner wall there. So I'm squeezing and rolling my thumb inwards. Just to bring up that last coil a bit more. As I said, I don't really have a plan for the shape of these vessels. They take on a form of their own through the process. I'm just going to smooth down a bit more in the inside, because this was the two clays meeting each other, the wild clay and the commercial clay. Okay, so I think we're nearly there. One more layer of the terracotta. Normally I wouldn't use such small marks here. I was just reflecting them. I wonder why I am. I think I'm responding to the clay and what I feel it needs. So that's an unconscious, a subliminal thing that's happening. I might get a bit more of a fire going in a minute, but first I'm going to finish this off now by bringing the edges up a little bit thinner. And the reason I like to do that is this motion of bringing the intention of gratitude and whatever I've intended in a particular vessel upwards to the sky, out of the earth and upwards. So that's why I do that. It feels right, and it feels like it's extending the energy upwards for whoever then goes on to use the vessel as a meditation tool or conduit. And sometimes I do this with the intention of coming upwards and outwards. With this vessel, I feel it needs to come upwards and inwards a little bit more. And it's really interesting using this process with the water, because I made some test cylinders and the rims were all made in this way, and they were all made with different clay, and because I was doing them one after each other, I could really tell the difference in how different types of clays respond to this teasing upwards technique that I use in my work. It really emphasised the difference in how a different clay body will respond to that. But actually looking at what I've created here, I find it so interesting that without the intention, because I didn't hold the intention of making a vessel that looked like the leaves that are scattered around. But, you know, obviously because of the colour, and I suppose the thin nature of the rim, that there is definitely a correlation. So that's interesting. things with ceramics, it's a bit of a life lesson really, because you have expectations of things, how you want maybe things to turn out in life. But as I think we all know, life is full of uncertainty, so it teaches you to, be surprised when you open the kiln, and sometimes you're disappointed, but then I often find if I'm disappointed it's because I have a preconception of what I wanted it to look like, which of course we do as, creators and designers, but sometimes then when I can be disappointed when it comes out, but then when I learn to live with it, I then start to see something beautiful in the unexpected, once my ego has learnt to step out of the way.